So we've looked at the definitions of elements and compounds, and now we're looking at molecules. How do we define a molecule? Well, a molecule is a group of two or more atoms joined chemically in a single unit. Now, other definitions might use the word species, okay? I'm using the word unit. Now, as with elements and compounds, molecules can be gases, right? Can be a gas, for example, as in the case of chlorine here, or it can be a liquid, as in the case of ethanol here, or it could be a solid, as in the case of PVC. You've got some PVC plumbing piping here, PVC. And the next thing we're going to say is that molecules can be made from the same atom, for example, as in the case of chlorine here, or they can be made from different atoms, as in the case of ethanol and PVC and water and many other different types of molecules. Now, chlorine we call a diatomic molecule. That's to say it's two atoms of chlorine joined together as a pair. Okay, so when we write the formula for chlorine gas as it occurs in the air around us, we will write Cl, and then the 2 tells us that it's two atoms joined together. And remember, on in the periodic table, at room temperature, assuming that the gas is not a noble gas, that's an inert gas, then all of the other gases, as they occur in the air around us, are diatomic molecules. And there are 5 of them altogether. That's to say chlorine, and then we've got oxygen, we've got fluorine, nitrogen and hydrogen. And all of these occur as diatomic molecules. That's to say it's two atoms joined together as one unit. Now, in the case of ethanol, if we look at the group of atoms here that join together to form the ethanol molecule, well, you can see that we have 2 carbons, okay, and then we've got an oxygen and a hydrogen here joined together. This is actually called a hydroxyl group, and we'll look at this in much more detail when we look at organic chemistry, okay, but this is the hydroxyl group. That's an OH group there, and the rest of these atoms are hydrogen. So when we write the chemical formula for this molecule, then we'll take this group first, this C, and then 3 H's, CH3, and then CH2, and then we slap this OH group on the end. That tells us that it's a type of alcohol. So the last example is a molecule that is a solid, and this is PVC. Now, this is made from a single unit here, and this is called Chloro Ethene. Again, you don't really need to worry too much about this at the moment. We'll look at this in more detail much later on, Chloro Ethene. And what happens is that you'll notice here that these black lines here are called bonds. These are what holds the atoms together in the molecule, and you'll see that between the carbon there's what we call a double bond. Now, when the solid PVC is formed, well, what happens is this double bond breaks, and the bond is then used to join this group onto another chloroethene group, and then onto another chloroethene group, and so on, and the chain begins to get very long indeed. And these chains are called polymers. In fact, the chains are so long that they can't exist, certainly can't exist in a gas state, and not even a liquid state. They can only really exist in a solid state, as the interactions between these long chain molecules are quite large indeed. Now, the old-fashioned name for this substance is vinyl chloride. Okay, vinyl chloride. So when you get a whole load of vinyl chloride units all joined together to form a long molecule, then it's called polyethylene. polyvinyl chloride. Okay, in other words, the acronym PVC, that's for polyvinyl chloride.